Hello, it's Aisha White, and it's been a minute. I do realize that. I'm sorry I've been away for a while. But how are you? I hope you're doing well. In the comment section, why don't you tell me what you've been up to? Have you been reading a good book lately? Watching a TV show? Was it a really good movie that you watched and you enjoyed it? Tell me about it. Suggest some stuff to me. Let's catch up, please. So hello to my new subscribers and hello to my OG subscribers, the ones that have been here from the beginning. I appreciate you sticking around, and to these new subscribers, I appreciate you joining me on this journey of communication. So if this is the first video of mine that you've ever watched before, my name is Aisha White, and I am a fan of the idea of communication and the different forms that it comes in. And so I talk about my journey of becoming a better communicator, because I have this whole background where people are like, oh, you're so quiet and these things. And I'm an introvert, which doesn't equal shy, as a lot of people equate the things, but they don't have to coincide. But becoming a better communicator and recognizing the areas in which I can improve, and then also my communications with others. And so I have a whole list of great interviews that I've done with people in the past. I call it interviews with smart people, because they are smart, awesome people, and they have such great stories to tell, and so many people do. And I'm looking forward to interviewing some more people in the future and continuing that series. So thanks for watching my videos. I appreciate you being here. I wanted to talk today about this idea of vulnerability and surrendering. So this idea of all it takes is the act of surrender has been on my mind for a while, because I was listening to this song called How to Forgive, and it's by a band called Tennis. And there's a line in it that says all that it takes is just the act of surrender, and that would stick out in my head a lot, and it seemed to apply to different situations that have come up over the course of the last year and a half, 2 years, and thinking in terms even bigger of like spirituality and surrendering, this idea of surrendering to God and what that means and what that looks like. And for me in my life and the things that have gone on, what would it look like for me to surrender and to go, hey, you got it. Like, I'm going to let you do what you do. And I'm going to put the work in to the degree that I can as a human being, but also I'm going to trust that things are going to go in a different direction. Things will never be perfect, but that I'll survive it. Basically, I'll survive it in the end. I will reach a place of peace. Ultimately, like that's the goal for me, is like peace of mind. Like getting to a place of peace. That's will be perfect. And so that idea, and in the midst of the chaos that has been the last year and a half, it's been hard to find that and hard to get to a place of vulnerability. Now, I was very vulnerable at the beginning of this year in telling the story of trauma that I experienced. I won't go into details. I have a blog. I'll link to it if you want to read about it, if you're interested in it. But I don't think I'll ever go into detail about it on this channel. I don't want to. And so, but there's a related video, and I'll link to that about how to talk to survivors. And I think that's really, really important. And in that conversation, that was something I uploaded some months ago with amazing, awesome people. It's Amber and also Ashley, so a therapist and a journalist and survivor, and they're speaking on this topic of how to talk to survivors. And I tried to make it the type of conversation that isn't triggering for someone who may be a survivor, if they want to listen in, or just like share it with somebody that you love or care about, and equip them with that knowledge of like kind of things to say and not to say, and then ways to respond and how to be caring and there for somebody who needs it. So yeah, I'll link to that for you, and I say take a look at that. And they're brilliant women, and I appreciate them taking time to talk to me about a topic like that and share their knowledge with anyone who needs it. So back to this topic of surrendering and vulnerability. I did something recently where I had to, I didn't have to be vulnerable. I chose to be vulnerable, and that is a scary thing, right? Because it's usually uncomfortable. It can be awkward. You're in a position where you don't necessarily know how things will end and how things will turn out. And for someone like me, like, I like to know what's coming next, and like I need some sense of what's about to happen. And so that's nerve-wracking to be like, no, I'm gonna open myself up to critique, open myself up to another person and talk to them about these things that are meaningful or close to me or in my experiences. And they might connect with me or they might reject me. And like, that's scary, and that can make you hesitate. But also to get to a place where you do it anyway, that's freeing. It is freeing. And it's not gonna always turn out perfect, because you'll be vulnerable, and I've experienced that too. You're vulnerable with somebody, you're trying to be generous or caring, and either it's not seen as enough, or you're criticized in some sort of way, and they take advantage in ways of that vulnerability, and you're like, oh wait, and you kind of regret it. I know for me, it's like, and this is why, like, something occurs that affirms my actions before, where I'm like, I don't open up to people because I don't want to get hurt, because I don't want, people just take advantage, people do this and that. And then somebody, maybe they're the rare person out of the, the mass amounts of people that have not taken advantage. But it's like, and that's why that has affirmed this belief. I've held on to this belief until I found someone to prove that true. And it's like, and this is why I don't open up, because people are terrible, or people are judgmental, or people will bully you, or whatever it is. Or people will hurt you immensely and cause trauma that puts you in therapy for a long time. So there's that too. But I think that it's still important to do. If you want to grow as a human being, if you want to experience the depths of the human experience, like, it's a part of it. I think love is so important, and it's outside of just like romantic love, showing love and kindness to other people in different ways. If it's like you have the means and that's monetary, or if it's like you see this person really, really needs to vent, and you are giving of your ear, you lend your ear to them, and you let them vent. You pray for them. You hug them if they need it. It can be small acts. It can be large acts, but it's something that somebody needs in that moment. And or it's you sharing your story. It's simply you speaking your truth. By being vulnerable, by speaking up about whatever it is that you've gone through, whatever your experience is, whatever you're struggling with, if you're battling with something in the moment, and being vulnerable enough to say, this is what I'm going through, this is what I'm experiencing, I am in pain, I am saddened, I'm depressed, I'm, at a loss, I'm stressed out, whatever it is. Being able to put words to that and share that with somebody else and let them know that they're not alone, and then possibly they may have words of encouragement for you. They may have wisdom because they've gone through it before, and you would never ever gain the advantage of hearing that or experiencing those words that they have for you because you didn't open up. You didn't want to be vulnerable. You didn't surrender to that moment. You didn't surrender to the feeling and being like, hey, this is my moment to open up. You wanted to remain closed off. You wanted to protect yourself because there's always that possibility of being hurt. But that is a part of life. Nobody goes through life unscathed. No one. And if you think that choosing to not open up and let people in some sort of way is going to benefit you, then you're wrong. Obviously, there's, boundaries that you have to set to protect yourself. Guard your heart. Like, you don't let everybody in, and you are wise about it. Going back to, that idea that if there's somebody that's like obviously going to be toxic, someone that's just, it's something not right there, then no, like, don't doubt yourself and move forward with, letting them in. You don't have to. You're not required to allow everyone into your life. But also putting up these walls and not letting anybody in is not benefiting you. I know it because I am so guilty of it in so many ways. And we don't always realize the way that our actions affect other people too. Because I'm thinking, I won't open up completely because I don't want to get hurt by somebody else. But my lack of communication with someone else, or my hesitation to share parts of me with someone else who genuinely cares about me, could be a detriment to them because they might need that. That could have been that one story of how I got over this hump. That one story of how I solved this issue. Or that one story of, this is what I'm going through now. Failing to share that could have prevented them from growing in a way, or opening up themselves and being like, oh, and I can be equally vulnerable. I feel safe with this person to talk about these things. And so it's a lesson that I'm continuing to learn. I'm not perfect at it at all. I struggle with it, being vulnerable every day. And quite honestly, there's been times where I've been vulnerable and I regretted it immediately afterwards. I was like, oh no, they know too much about me. I don't want that. And kind of stressing out about it. And then, thinking back on it again and being like, it's absolutely fine. I can trust that person's not gonna hurt me because they know what my biggest fears are, or they know I'm lactose intolerant, so they're not gonna like sneak milk into my food. I don't know. But I'll be okay. Like, it's okay. And it's for a reason. And so even some of the things I've been writing on my blog are just little thoughts that I've had here or there, or stories I've told, and things I've scribbled down and haven't necessarily shared publicly yet, but I need to get it out there. I have something in the works that's been in the works for a long time that I'd like to share soon. But any of those things are also like ways that I've been trying to open up and be more vulnerable, like in my writing and speaking to my experiences. I was told by my counselor, who I see weekly, that writing is my superpower. And so I'm trying to lean into that and trying to express myself in that way. So it's going to come across in different ways for different people. It's going to look different ways how you express your vulnerability, because you might be able to sit down and record a YouTube video. You may be able to write it down in a journal, or write it in a song, or paint it, or express it through a photo, or through dance, or all of these other ways. See, what you're doing is you're communicating. It comes down to communication, like everything. You're communicating your thoughts and your feelings, and in doing that and choosing to surrender and say, I don't know what the outcome will be. I'm openly being vulnerable in this moment with this person, and there's some potential, hey, I might be rejected, and that's scary to know that, but also, oh my gosh, how much I might miss out on not simply speaking up, on not simply sticking around for a couple more minutes to linger on in this conversation. So to be vulnerable, to get to a place of forgiveness, to grow as a person, to feel the depths of the human experience, you have to surrender. You have to be willing to surrender to that moment in time and be present and be there, because oh gosh, that's a whole nother struggle that I experience, is like not being present and being in my mind and thinking in terms of other things, or thinking backwards or of the future, and it's always this planning stage, or maybe not necessarily nostalgia, but like going backwards to think about past experiences and how can I apply these things I've learned to something else. And that's great, and there's a time and a place for it. And if it pulls you out of the present moment and you can't be there to live life with other people, then it's not the best thing. It's not the best thing you could do. So yeah, all it takes is an act of surrender. Choose to be vulnerable in some way. Be careful. I mean, be realistic. You know, you don't put yourself in harm's way. You don't not listen to your heart and your mind and what your spirit tells you when it comes to people and situations. But it's okay to be open. It's okay to have a conversation. It's okay to talk about how you feel. Even though you may hate it and it's uncomfortable to talk about your emotions, it's okay. And it's good for you, and it's good for other people. And unless you're just like a selfish being and you don't care about anybody, then I hope you do. I hope that you surrender. Surrender. Oh, I was going to say, that's Serenity Now. I'm thinking about Serenity Now. Serenity Now. I was going to try to make like a saying or something out of surrendering, but no, that's, and never give up, never surrender. Oh my gosh, there's so many things that are so unrelated to this. So at this point in time, I will wrap this up. Yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to me ramble on. I miss making these videos, and I miss connecting with people. I've been in a place of healing, trying to get to a place of healing. And so there was a whole period of time where I was hesitant to express myself in any of the creative ways that I had done before. And it was pointed out to me that I wasn't happy anymore, and I wasn't in a good place because I was suppressing all these ways in which I expressed myself because I was in a bad place. And so I can at least recognize that some progress is being made. I'm making a video, so there's that. Yeah, So I hope this was helpful to someone. I hope that this didn't go in too many different directions. I hope it makes sense, this concept that I'm throwing out here. I hope you're picking up what I'm putting down. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you would like to see more content from me related to communication, definitely go check out my my playlist of past interviews that I've done and conversations I've had with other people and with myself. And subscribe. And I will be back soon. Soon-ish. I will be back. I will be back. I'll be back. Okay. See you.